Hello all, welcome to another session of ST Skills. Today we are going to check around need to build an API to retrieve logs, and Ragesh is going to lead the discussions, but everybody is welcome to chime in and help in the process. Over to Ragesh.
Thank you. So we have we are going to start with the functional requirement. So yeah. So the functional requirement, we will be building a. Like the data is already collected. So that was the assumptions actual, right? So we can start writing assumption as well. It's the same time, right?
So I think, first thing is functional requirements, and then non-functional, then estimates and high-level design, low-level design, and testing verification. If you want to follow this pattern, like we generally follow. So let's start with the front-end requirements. What could be the, functional requirements? Yeah. So what kind of logs they are? Like, and who is going to, who would be the customer? So let's start with who is the customer here. And Ragesh, you don't need to write the full sentence. Like, I think customer is fine because in real interview, we don't have that much time.
Yeah.
So I think the customer could be, this could be for enterprise, or it could be like a service, which you can give to different customers, something like Kibana. Mm-hmm. Or it could be something only within the company. So looks like the logs are stored somewhere. We just need to build an API which can query that system, show it on the UI. So it could go either way with like an enterprise for a company, something like Microsoft or Amazon. They are just building for internal use case. Or it could be like on a public cloud. Mm-hmm. Like anybody can come log in and send something like Datadog or something. There are so many platforms these days. Like you send your logs to their server, and then they give you a UI to visualize.
Okay, so something like ELK, Elastic Load, Logstash, and Kibana.
Yeah, but here we are not that much bothered about how the Logstash other things could work. Looks like. So I would say like. Let's start with the enterprise, something like we can start with any enterprise, like which has a good number of services or applications. Then I think the next thing is what kind of logs. I think somebody already asked you that Argon, that what kind of logs it could be. So I think logs could be anything. It could be system logs, API logs.
Example like a Docker health or something like that. Mm-hmm. And how about the retention? Like,
so retention, I think, is not something our thing.
Okay.
Retention is whatever the storage there, how long. We are only here to retrieve the logs, show it on the UI. So basically, UI would query. So how could UI can query? UI could query based on, I think, so there should be search and filter.
Yeah.
Now search. search query, filter query, and then it could go in any dimension now.
Correct.
Like how you want your search. It could be free text search, or it could be like very limited search. I think most of the systems give free text search.
Right. Yeah.
And then there should be filter, something like a filter. You can filter things by fields like date range or something. This is what I could think of.
Yeah.
And then do we need so because this the results could be too large, then what else? Does this API should support pagination, or what was the other thing? Lazy page load. So lazy page load is also pagination, but it's like when you,
Yeah.
it's bit same and bit different in that way. That, yeah, I think the different, there is some difference.
Oh,
The lazy page, pardon me, the lazy page load will be coming from the UI side, right? Not the
Yeah,
API side.
but it has to send some markers to API telling, okay,
Yeah.
what next?
How many pages we need, that kind
Yeah.
of thing, actually. Yeah.
So let's stick with pagination for now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else? What else? If somebody goes to page search, what they see, or like a
Do we need to set up any security on this API?
see, security would take us in different directions. I would say security, but I will put that as like a V2 feature, because that will derail the discussion.
Yeah. Okay.
We are assuming OAuth to whatever is already in place, and we are just using this API.
Okay.
In the search query thing, actually, whether we are saying that what is the search type? Are we searching for the file, or are we searching for the within file? So the search type may be a different thing, right? In the search query, should we give that much detail?
So file, like, can you please elaborate when you say file? Like, are you assuming?
Yeah.
Like,
So we are searching for the logs, right? So I'm just searching for that. Yeah, which was a debug log. So there I'm searching for a file which is starting with the debug, or if I want to search some specific word inside the files, and then I can say actually, yeah, the file type maybe inside the page or something, or file page. What I'm saying?
I was
Where
assuming all the logs are going to some system, NoSQL system, something like that. And we are just like how we search a database or something, it would be something like that. That's what I was assuming.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that would be good point to consider. But I don't have more context there.
So yeah, I think we have a API to pagination, and I think then, oh, sorry, that happened. So
Yeah.
product. So yeah, product.
So we all use some kind of a log search portal.
Yeah.
What else? And I'm looking for the audience to chime in now.
So do we need to support any API for auto search kind of thing?
You put that, there's no harm putting, but think in that way, what are the core scenarios? Would auto search, you can put that, Ragesh, if you want. So there's no, like here, let's put everything what's come to mind.
Yeah.
Then we can see like auto search. So auto search, when you say like
Auto search or auto suggestions, like, you can say auto suggestions. Like if you type A, all the letters, all the past search happen, list out all the words the customers or someone searched.
Yeah, but
yeah.
that will be a different API, right?
Correct. It'll be a
Yeah,
different
yeah,
API. So that I think we can ignore now.
okay, you can put like week two or like a strike out. Mhm.
I mean, yeah, that's an API which is supporting this API. Yeah.
So I was thinking, do we need to consider what else it gives? It's give ability to create dashboards, right? So that could be a different query. I don't know. So basically, I know Splunk. You can create your own queries, save them. Okay, like we can have this same query thing first.
Yeah.
So, but again, that would be in a different direction. Save query would not be part of retrieve logs.
Yeah. So I'm also thinking if the UI portion is if can build some front end application like Angular, or that is we don't need to consider just an API. The front end development is can be a separate activity.
Mhm. But so right now we are discussing retrieving logs and showing. But like say you want to create a dashboard, then you might need a different format of the log. So whatever the API will return you could be like aggregation.
Yes.
So do we need aggregation requirement in our API?
Yeah, we can put that as well. So you mean to say that aggregation means if you have a 30 system, all 30 systems will give you the logs in an aggregated way,
Yeah,
right?
I'm looking to create a dashboard like top 10 or something like count. Give me count of all these things, like all the errors happen in last 1 hour. Give me all the counts.
Okay,
So it will just instead of giving you logs, it will give you a count.
correct.
Okay. So no one has any other requirements.
So how about non-functional requirement? And start that. We it's like we can say like um, 60. I mean, the logs are from that is already explained here, like system logs. So
So
mm,
non-functional requirements could be like it could be how so basically this system should be always available.
correct.
So if it is availability should be always there, but if it is what they say, if there is a delay also, that's fine. Like these are just logs, they are not that critical. It could be critical,
Yeah.
but consistency be could take a hit. So API doesn't matter, it is just querying, but if it is not getting everything up to date, that's fine.
Yeah, but if it is an API deployed on a some kind of container or something, and we have to, if the response is more, traffic is more, we we need to retrieve immediately in a limited time, right? So if there is any troubleshooting issues or something like that. So I don't know, just
yeah, you can add that, Ragesh.
yeah, I'm just saying like the API should be more scalable. And always on, that already is. Then
Scalability, consistent, eventual consistency is fine.
think people are giving ideas on the chat board. I think they can speak. They're thinking that actually the current.
I wasn't sure since only two people were speaking. I wasn't sure.
We can chime in.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So is always on low latency is covered by always on? I think.
always on is scale. Low latency is something else actually. That is
Okay.
part of scalability.
Yeah, but low latency could be another function requirement. So low latency, what we are saying is like our response times should be really quick.
So basically, when you put a query, the logs you should be really fast, basically.
Correct.
Yeah, but this is that. Yeah, I know the coding matters, but is that a functionality of the API? But it is like it should
Yeah,
be.
so if queries are taking too long, which they used to when I used Splunk in my last company. So initially they said the initial 3-4 queries for every user were really fast. But when I started going, I think after 5 or 6, it used to be slow for me. I think, I don't know if that's the model, the company bought that kind of package from them, or that's their modus operandi. I don't know. But that's I observed, and everyone said this is how it is in Splunk, that initial queries of the user are really fast, but then after 4-5 queries, they start slowing you like down. They you are not basically the top uh, person to get all the resources. So I don't know how that works.
Yeah.
So there is one more suggestion was throttling based on the high number of requests. That is
Yeah,
part of it.
we can put API rate limiting.
What was it? API?
Rate limiting or throttling.
Okay.
Basically, what we are saying is if somebody's trying to abuse our system, and it's very easy to abuse the log system. People go and start hitting crazily, but
Okay.
Okay, and near real system, near real time. I mean, so you can do micro batching and send up the logs.
Yes.
Yeah. I think probably the low latency will cover real time like that. That's okay.
No.
I think low
so.
latency is from the other side. We were looking at that, how
Yeah.
it should be retrieved.
Retrieved and then like whatever validated and then parsed, etc. Right? Yeah. Because some of the logging systems take like up to 5 minutes for you to see the logs.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And also log filtering, so that if someone turns on
So that
finest
shouldn't be
level
a
logging,
non-functional requirement. That can be like query, right? Search queries based on,
Yeah.
I think that covers it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is good for non-functional. Then we'll just put. So what is assumptions? What kind of we build a um, So there was a question how long they will store the data. So we can say like we assume like 24 hours so logs will be stored.
No, I think at least 30 days.
Okay.
But yeah.
And where are we storing the logs? Should we assume that? Because yeah, are we storing it in
I think
S3 or are we storing it in that DB?
couple of options. Non-SQL we can store.
We can store it in S3.
Yeah. What is it? Non-SQL, right? We'll say non-SQL.
Yeah, so there should be like the 24 hours should be in a different kind of storage readily available. And then later than that can be S3 or all should be S3.
I think we can store everything into one single place first. Non-SQL we can turn on that there is a lifetime policy. You can turn it off after they clean it up after 24 hours, something like that.
Means you will be storing it in S3 and after some time, if it is lifetime, then you'll be pushing to the non-SQL. Is that you're saying?
No, I mean 30 days of data we can maintain in non-SQL databases.
Yeah, S3 is not SQL, no? I thought.
No. Is it Amazon S3?
Okay. And when we say non-SQL, we mean DynamoDB or something?
Correct.
Like Elasticsearch.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you can DynamoDB or Cassandra, something like that.
Or should this be very specific to time series database? Will that help?
If it is time series, then we should, I think, Elasticsearch is good option, right?
Yeah, we can we can use anything Elasticsearch. The problem we are thinking Elastic is actually having an inbuilt. What is it called? Okay.
Mainly, we should ask the question that actually what is the type of the logs, and based on that we can design and we can decide where to store it, right? I mean, if it is already stored, then we can't do anything, but we can always ask the question to interviewer.
Yeah. So one more question is caching. So do we need to set up any kind of Redis caching or something? Because if this is a more real-time data, I don't think so. We need to set up a cache, right?
Yeah.
Every request need to pull it from DB, and we will be generating millions of logs in every millisecond.
No, so for example, caching can be used for like searches which are like most common, right? So we don't have to hit the DB every time.
Okay. So we can say like, yeah. So say
But the cache line can change, right? Over time.
Sorry.
Cache line, what is that?
Like whatever you're caching, right? Caching some log lines. Then whatever you're searching by key, the value of that log line might change over time because logs.
So no. So every log query is not like give me the last 5 minutes. Someone can put a query, give me from this date to this date, and that will remain same, right?
Correct. So we can cache some data from from starting to like 5 minutes before, like, and then from the cache we can any search. If they put a filter like date time, they can filter on the cache, right?
Exactly. Something which is like give me the last 5 minutes, last 10 cannot be cached because it depends upon when the query was fired.
Yeah.
Can you have indexing too, like on the columns of the indexes?
Yeah, I thought we are using Elasticsearch because of that we would be able to index. Yeah. But yeah, we can decide what columns we want to index on.
Yeah. Okay, so then we can start the low level requirement, I think. So yeah.
So one second. So assumption we are doing the caching. So that is we are seeing the caching on the API side or the this is on the what is where would be the Redis cache will come? I'm just confused.
In API side.
API side only, right? Okay. So should that be an assumption or should it be in a functional requirement?
We put in a non-functional requirement. I think we can.
I don't. I'm just asking. I don't know. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, I am also not aware about it. What should it come? It's it's not a functional, right? So it's
Yes, it's not functional. Like yeah.
Yeah.
So low level requirement we can start. I mean, sorry. What would be our low level requirement?
Are we doing a low level diagram or requirement?
Okay, you can start with the diagram then, and then we can.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know how to do a diagram here. Is it there is any?
I'm not sure what tool. Oh, OneNote. I haven't used that. Sorry.
You just had to click that pen marker, pen on the left side, yeah, and just start drawing. That's it.
Okay, so what I'm thinking, like we'll have a. Oh, this is tough. Okay, so we'll have a system.
So basically, this can be a client, right?
Oh,
So you can even use shapes there. I think there should be something like a shape.
Okay.
Insert. Can you click insert on the top?
Oh, where? Yeah.
No, there is insert next to draw.
Yeah, where
Next to
there's home. Yeah, next to before. Yeah.
Yeah,
shape.
here you can bring in different kind of shapes, connect them.
I can draw like this. Okay.
Yeah, you can even, I think, write inside that.
Okay. So I will start with the server. Like, so in the server example, we'll have a multiple like boxes, multiple servers. So this all forward the logs into another system.
Sorry to interrupt. We should do a high level design before doing the low level design.
Okay. So yeah, I think let's start then high level. And I think, yeah, just, okay. So this is a, what they call it, like application logs or application or system logs, right? Then we will have a this is our elastic Then here we have a API, and which is that okay or?
So this UI is okay. So UI is what our clients or customers will be using, right? That's
Yep.
what it is. Okay, and they'll hit the API. Okay, okay, it's from right to left. We are going kind of okay.
Yeah, so the applications will be logs. Don't know what happened. Okay, so the logs will be collected and pushed into an Elastic. We will have an API. The API read the logs from the Elastic.
Okay, okay, okay. So do we want to also have maybe this flow or another flow where the logs, how will the logs will go into the system? Because this is mostly like retrieval flow, right?
No, I mean, I'm just, this is a one flow, like the application logs is already collected here, and this logs will be pushed into Elastic.
Okay, so we are not the function requirement is not how the system is going to collect the log. That's not a part of it.
No, that's not
Okay.
part of it.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
What's the role of Elastic there? In anyone?
Elastic is just for a storage, you can say storage.
So your arrow between Elastic and API should be both ways, right? Like the way you have UI and API.
Oh, yes, correct. Good point. Yeah, so UI will send a request through API. API goes to Elasticsearch and read the data and push it back to UI. Yes. Okay, now lower level. Okay, so we have a we'll have a apps the like and so applications push, right? That you can say, right? Application push data. So in the we have a system, and this is we can call it as a some kind of a system or apps or so this will have a example. This is some kind of a container, we can say. So there are some n containers, and then we have a what any suggestion how we push the data into Elasticsearch?
So I don't know how we are going to store these logs. So if Elastic Storage is gonna take care of all the queries, then we
Uh-huh.
just have to make sure that we are able to store the in a specific way, right? How we're going to index. So what columns are we going to index on? Are we going to index on date time? Are we going to index also on the customer ID?
Okay. So I'm just thinking in container, there is a var log. So it store all the logs into the apps log. Then we have some kind of a service which you need to read and push it, right? Or
Exactly. Yeah. So, and also in these logs, we also need to have information about not just logs, but also the customer ID, the timestamp, everything, right?
correct. So the log will have which container, which app pushed it. Like this container is like for X app, and this is for Y app. So those information will be part of the log.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, we should create in the low-level design a service, which is kind of, reading all these logs and then fetching into Elastic storage, right?
Yes.
So the
It will
role
be
of
really annoying.
container,
Sorry.
Go on.
the role of container is to host this service.
No, container. Our applications and systems are running in a container. So just assume, is it something, we deployed applications in a example in Amazon. So example, just giving an example, Amazon website backends, there are some APIs. Those APIs are stored in a container.
Yeah, I thought so. In the assumptions, I think we mentioned that those logs are already available. So I guess this is fine, but I was just thinking more in terms of like now the logs are available, so we just use this service to push it to Elastic storage.
Correct.
Yeah,
So,
that's
I
what
think
we're doing.
we went for little detail. I think that's okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So this portion is already been built, but we went for say that, hey, this is we can do as well. Yeah. So then here is the Elastic. I think Elastic will have a indexing kind of thing, right? Multiple indexes, right? I don't know. So if anyone have experience in Elastic, they can speak.
No, I do know that you can have multiple indexes, and then yeah, that's the major and then the search can be on any number of those. I'm not experienced with Elastic, so just
I think you don't have to create an index, it'll automatically create, I guess, based on the time series, right? I think like that actually.
oh, really?
And,
I mean, how you would have to say what all columns are your indexes, no?
yeah, that we had to say actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll have a
Okay.
type, I can say type log type, which we discussed on the top. So this will help you to read it from through the API, like log type. And I think, I don't know, the customer also we need here. So because if the logs, we are actually collecting the log for different department, probably the enterprise level we are collecting. So there is a way we can filter it through which department or which org we need to fetch the data.
Yeah, I will say less about org and more about if they are system logs or application logs or some other logs, right? We have different kinds of logs that are applications.
Okay,
Kind
that
of,
is
yeah,
log type I mentioned.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the log type. And then we can have timestamp as one of the indexing columns.
Correct. So it will be created date or something, or yeah. And what else?
Yeah, I don't know, should we index some major keywords? Because how like I think anyone would search log would be some kind of exception, right? I think either input IO exception or out of bounds exception or something. So do we want to also have those kind of words indexed? Not sure if it's a good idea. Just throwing ideas here.
I think if it is as he said, like we can do there is a search type, right? It'll do a free text search. So free search text, I don't think so. We need to index keywords. It'll just go and grab any text in any files.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, we don't need to specifically mention the search keywords because your search application may have different inputs that you cannot index everything. Like when you do Splunk search, you don't know what, there are some pre-specified elements like department, root node, or, team, things like that, or application name. But sub search, you can give anything.
Yeah, so one other indexing thing can be application ID or name or whatever.
Yeah, app ID.
Yeah. So I just put a log description as well. So what we are logging, suppose an error message, the error, all the entire stack trace.
Yeah, that is my question. That should be in Elasticsearch, or we should have some fetch all that stack trace from S3 or somewhere with some ID.
So Elastic can store all the logs as well. It can store.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. It doesn't impact the performance of search.
No.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, I think this is good. So then we have an API.
One question I have here is initially we talked about scalability. So should we consider talking about how many nodes we want to have in this Elasticsearch, maybe at a high level
Yes.
diagram?
That's a good one. So I think, yeah. So
Nodes
probably
will also depend on the size, right? How much data, we did not do those estimations.
oh yeah.
How much data we are expecting every day.
Yeah, so daily say average logs per second, or how much is the logs we get. Any ballpark number?
I don't know how many do we expect per day from an application.
So we can say that assumptions, just add one more point here, like we have like 30 apps or something.
And okay, 30 apps, and then how many MBs per app of data every day?
Yeah, so 30
Can be-
apps
Yeah.
into per second, we can say, right? I mean, or
Let's say 100 MB per minute
Yeah.
per application minimum. And then we have like 30 applications.
Yeah.
So then let's 3,000. No, is it 3,000?
Yes, 3,000.
3,000
MB
per minute, and then per hour into 60.
So 180,000, right?
180
So basically 180 GB
into per day 24.
24.
into 24. How much is that?
And
is that correct?
Per day, and then per month.
30 days, right?
So into approx 30, yeah.
So if we go, so around 1200. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
And generally we keep, but here for this Elastic and Splunk, we only keep 15 days to max 1 month. So let's say 30 days is max.
Yeah.
That was we put assumption like 30 days of data.
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
say 30 days should be good.
Yeah.
Correct.
So we need this much, like 129 TB of data every month. No, not every month, but basically that's the total we need, right, to store.
Approximately, let's say 130 TB.
Yeah, 130 TB, and then that will be rotated.
Correct.
Yeah.
So at a time, our system will have only 128.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
So 128, how many, if it is a Elasticsearch is deployed in an EC2, just imagine, or in a virtual machine, we can say how many virtual machines we need to handle.
Okay.
That was the question, right? I mean, how many, what will be our high availability, and how to reduce the, better latency and scalability, consistency.
Assume we have five, at least 3 redundancy.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so into 3.
Okay,
So,
that means 9 node.
yeah.
Okay. Just putting like this. So, okay.
I joined late. I thought this was interview.
I am. Yeah, this is a 9 node.
You can just say 9 nodes.
Yeah. Yeah, so that,
Sorry, how did we come up with this 9 nodes?
Resiliency of 3, high availability of 3, and we break that pod into smaller pods.
in multi-region, something like that, right? To more availability and all.
Okay. So so every region has like 3 nodes for
Yeah.
redundancy. Okay.
Like that, yeah.
Okay.
See how quickly cost increases. That's why whenever you want to use any of these, you should try to make it in-house and not to use Amazon or Azure or anything as much as possible, because the cost for your application is, you should be as frugal as possible, at the same time as much available. So otherwise, half of the more than the searching that you're going to do for your applications or the revenue that you generate from the applications, you'll be paying more to the Amazon.
Yep.
Yeah. At the same time, maintaining cost, right? You needed to employee to maintain this, and infrastructure, and then the patching and everything will be.
No, sir. So I agree that if it is the only, if it is if you're opening a company which will just do this, that it will make sense to have in-house, right? But if it's just a part of your application, then probably you can outsource. You don't want to start creating a logging service like Splunk, right?
Correct. So I'll first point was
Yeah, during startups you can't build everything, so it's better to use pre-built. But once you are matured enough, you can actually get some backend service, backend storage, and use this on ELK stack.
So Praveen, does your company has its own in-house logging service?
We are building. We are migrating to in-house.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I think this is okay with the elastics thing, or you need any more details?
Yeah, my knowledge is very limited, so I can't add anything here.
We can add environment also. One is non-production and production.
Oh, okay.
One of the inputs like log description, customer application ID, environment there.
Oh, here.
Yeah, under the application. So then if it's production, your high availability, we can have it 9, but in non-production, you can just have it like 2 or something, and reduce that requirement from 30 days to 1 week.
Yeah, I mean, either we can separate the nodes, or we can just have these nodes which we have store everything, and the search will take care of the environment, right? As a parameter, it can send what environment.
Yeah, but I think we should store it separately.
Store always separately. Never mess production data with the.
Yeah. So then we don't. Yeah.
Does it make sense to have it configurable by the client itself so that they can say how many nodes they want in lower environments versus in higher environments? Something like in dev environment, maybe they just want to go with 1 node.
Yeah, it should be configurable. Yeah, it's a pod, right? We can just scale up and scale down, so it shouldn't be a problem. But in term, the reason we brought that up is the cost associated with creating the infra. If you want to, for 130 terabytes that we need, if you want to go for 30 days and production, then just like 20 terabytes if you want to get for non-production approx.
Okay. So yeah, I think it's just separated in case just 2 boxes I have created.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I think then Elastic will have another environment, but we can just assume that is an already environment available.
Yeah. One question: if it is, if we are storing the Elasticsearch, I mean, then we should the API will be that we'll be using the Elasticsearch API, right? That'll be like a REST API to search inside the Elastic DB. So we should make use of that, right?
Yeah, I think
definitely. I don't know if the question is to build the Elasticsearch API or is it to leverage it?
It's a build an API, just an API.
Okay. So then we need to bring Elasticsearch like API.
Correct. It's not Elastic API, just we store Elastic, but this can be replaced any other technology, but the end goal is to build our own API.
So in that case, we need to optimize that. The data is already in Elastic, right? So it's already in time series. Yeah. So we just need to pass the query here.
Correct.
Yeah, in turn, if you want to query some data from the Elasticsearch, you will be using Elasticsearch API, right? Inside that. So
assume it's our own API. That way we can go ahead.
Okay.
Today. Yeah.
Or from our application, we can call Elasticsearch API.
Yeah, but the problem is we discussed about Redis. I don't think Elastic is having a cache and all like they are.
But why do we need Redis here? Because this is not a like application data that you want to keep and store it from the front end, right? This is just a log data.
No, yeah, but if I'm gonna search for a query, give me from 2nd October to 10th October, and all my teammates are basically doing the same, then why do I have to hit the DB?
Then you can just store memcache or something.
Yeah, in any kind of cache.
Any cache, yeah. The intent is cache.
Cache
doesn't have any cache. Yeah.
Any kind of cache.
Yeah, any kind of
okay, so then it doesn't have to go to backend, but it will get directly from. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
So typically, these caches will have key value pairs, right? I mean, key value stores. I don't think you can store a lot of data there. Like the one was saying that
Correct.
You can keep multiple days of data. I don't think you can do.
Yeah.
If for example, if you have smaller set of data, like for a given key, if you want to store something, for example, user ID or some kind of computational values, then the Redis or Memcache fits there.
Yeah.
Not the time series data. I have not seen such system.
Even
No,
I
so-
have not seen time series data. Only thing I've seen is when you want to store the product inventory or some kind of key information like user information, user ID, passwords, so that you don't have to go to backend, or some kind of static but frequently used information.
Yeah,
Or
so this is
pre-computed.
static, right? This is pre-computed and static. For a certain time range, it is everything that you just mentioned that should be cached. And depending upon the size, you can always also have Redis cluster. You can keep on adding nodes if you have more data, correct?
Yeah, I have to. Yeah, it may be good for the queries, but the key value should be exactly what. Otherwise, we won't be able to leverage it unless everyone. Oh, it may be used for reporting for sure. If you have pre-computed values for the reports, then we can probably use Redis or something to get it from there.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for maybe for specific aggregate queries. Yeah.
Yeah.
But not for time series data, probably.
Yeah, we can have query like error counts and all that. We can pre-compute last week, this month, and things like that. We can pre-compute and put that in the Redis. So when the front end, you may have some Tableau or some other dashboard that you want to show the results or Grafana, then you can actually use that pre-computed Redis as an input.
Yeah.
So we need one more layer after that, right?
Yeah, here.
After API, Redis, who will be calling Redis and Memcache. One more box. UI. UI can be a Kibana, not Kibana, or you can say Tableau or Grafana or any of the UI.
So here is a UI or cache, what we're going to do.
No, because the cache is
API, right?
Yeah. Actually, after API, just copy that to Redis Memcache to the next one. And after that, UI, put it in the another one box after that. Because API itself is completely different. It's function.
Okay.
It's just and then one more box for UI front end.
Yeah.
Or an idea could be depending upon what API is being called, it may go to Redis cache or it can go to Elasticsearch.
Correct. That is also a good idea.
Yeah, based on the input, yes. If it's like an ad hoc, then it will check. Then if it's an ad hoc query which is not in the Redis, then it's a read forward, read back, right? Those kind of logics we can use. If it's already in that predefined queries, then go to Redis. If it's not in the predefined queries, then go directly to backend. Yeah, that's a good point.
This one, oh no, I think I had to delete this. So here is the line.
So based on the API, you will decide maybe after UI, then the API will decide whether it needs to go to Redis or it needs to go to directly to Elastic.
Yeah, but we don't have to, I think we don't draw so much in the architectural diagram. It is understood if something is not in the cache, it will get a status code, and then there will be a trigger in the database.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So, what else?
Should we talk about what kind of routes that will be available in the API?
What? Sorry, can you repeat again?
What kind of routes that will be available, like
That's
I
a
mean APIs?
in the APIs? Yes.
What was the question?
So there'll be just searches, right? Different kind of searches, and the searches can either, I think the search will have a body and it will have different parameters, right?
Yeah.
And based on the parameters which are not null, our service will, yeah.
So
Yeah,
what
but
type it
yeah.
post, right? Normally.
Yes,
Post or get?
Yeah, won't we need payload? Because if our number of queries are too many, right?
Correct.
If I have like 10, we don't want to keep on putting them in the URL, correct?
Correct. I think the
Should be post, yeah.
Post. Okay, yeah.
and
Post.
end date.
And are we, yeah, if it is for UI, are we saying only for the search actually? Then we need some more items, right? From the how much data is stored altogether,
How much data is stored?
like
Okay.
for building a dashboard, how many data we have altogether.
Is that was a functional requirement? I don't think that was a functional requirement for us. Was it?
Okay.
Oh, how do you say data stored? Is it the 30 days thing, or is it how much data that is returned by the API by pagination or something?
Yeah, pagination is
pagination.
Probably like 25 days. Sorry, 25 rows, right?
25 rows. Yeah, that we can put in the application response time. We can do intelligent pagination on the API.
Yeah, but API, you mean to say at that time API return everything and then UI will fetch only first page, second page like that?
So there are
We can do multiple ways, right? We
Yeah.
can return like two pages, and then after it the next, then it will again go back, because most of the time people will not see the next
Correct.
everything. So it's a waste of resources and computation time to bring everything. How much in a Google search, or how many times have you clicked on the 6th or 7th page?
Correct.
Yeah, that's true. But my question here is it more? I think it's more performant to have this pagination on UI, correct? But also, we do not want our query to search everything, right?
Yes.
As you said, so we can have something like an offset, right? And every time the user goes onto the next page, we can fetch again, like with the offset too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what generally we
typically
do.
Okay.
Typically they call it as continuation token, right, or something like that.
Yeah. So
every response will have a token, and if they want to proceed further, they'll pass that token. That will act as an offset or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think that's a page I mentioned. The page is like page 1, about page 2 or offset, or example is 1. Like you can specify how many pages you want, and in each.
Yeah. So default, we had to specify what is the default thing if you're not specifying some options, right? I mean, if you're not specifying pagination, the default will be 25 rows.
So that is normally UI is taking care of it. So API is not bothered because UI has to take care, right?
Yeah, based on the user preference, right? Some people have 50 rows in their 50 rows in their page with smaller font for log. Some people have bigger fonts and just have 10 rows, right?
Yeah.
So based on the UI, yeah, definitely you can send. But from a default value, we can keep like 25 rows and send it.
Correct.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't you need customer ID in the payload?
Sorry.
Don't you need customer ID in the payload?
Yeah, I think we have a customer ID as well. If you want filter,
you can copy all that input from there, environment and everything, and then.
Yeah, I think customer ID search text is what the description will create date I already have, and log type. What is the log type? Yeah. Okay. Log type.
Application or system or.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, log type is mostly how I have used is it asks me what files do I need. Do I need systems or exceptions or HTTP exceptions or everything?
Okay.
And most of the fields are actually some of the fields are mandatory, but other things and all, it should be optional. If you don't pass any of the search, free search or text search, then it should return everything.
I think everything this here in this search text is not mandatory, optional. This is optional.
Yeah. Start and end should be mandatory.
No, generally there is a default, even the time range, like last 15 minutes or 10 minutes is like, will give you all the logs. Yeah.
Yeah, if you don't pass start and end, then it should play last 1 hour or something.
That is again UI need to take care of, because UI will
Yeah.
have automatically a filter. Yeah.
Yes, UI will pass that default.
Correct.
Okay, yeah.
Visualize Splunk query when you're trying to do it right. If you don't see anything, it will have the root node of where you need to search, and it will have a default 1 day or something, and with nothing, right?
Correct.
And everything else is optional.
Yeah.
Then
the 1 day is in the top right corner. They have it.
Yeah, top right. Yes, exactly. Before you hit the search button.
Yeah, I think we don't need to worry about the response. What response here not discussing, right? Like, no.
In response, in the sense, response is the output, right? Output in the format that is.
That's more like a the log description normally, right? What that's based on the search text and based on this.
Yeah.
I just put it.
You'll have a output. Response is JSON payload with rows.
Yeah.
And that UI will process that.
Yeah.
You may also want to have a get API for building those metrics, something that you can get quickly from, let's say, Redis, count of last 1 hour of errors.
Yeah, some dashboards which are already created, kind of. Yeah. Okay.
So I can say error count.
I'll just say filter on for any text search, and then it will just return the count on that filter. So it can be somebody can search for fatal error, whereas the other person can search only for error. We can just
maybe some custom errors, custom predefined, URI paths.
Yeah, and you pass as a like example, like error count, or it might be
like. I have a question here. So how will that be different than calling this with certain text, right? Why we need a different API?
Yeah, so what happens is when you use this get customer error count or get application error count, it will just give you a table of information. Today, when you see the Splunk, right, you see that it will also show the metrics of how many errors did you get or things like that. So that can be done with this get.
Is one is aggregate and another is it like one is aggregate and another is the simple historical get query? Is it
yeah, it's like in one hour I have 7 errors in this payload. Yeah.
So there is a to update the memcache, we need another process to do that, right? Who will take care of updating this memcache?
I think API has to do, API layer. Based on the query that you are doing, if it's an aggregate query, he has to intelligently write it into memcache. It's a write through cache kind of thing.
So the API go DB and then update here?
Or look aside cache rather than that.
Maybe you may have a scheduler, generic scheduler, which goes and picks all the predefined queries that you want to get for the get and write that to the memcache every hour. And then, so that will be another question, like how to write. That's a very good question. So that will be a generic different process
Yeah.
to update
No, but
cache.
it will be very hard for us to figure out upfront what all the metrics that user will be interested, right?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
why I'm just feeling that if we are doing a get query for this, it will be a lot of get queries like that, right? No?
How will you come up with an upfront list of metrics that user may be interested?
So generally what they do is they see all the customers, what they have searched, like a AI or something, and they filter out, like most of the customers are searching this. So today, if you see Prometheus or Grafana or, you know, some of the other things, they have predefined queries already for HTTP and for application search and other things. So they already have, when they are building it, they have this predefined set of get queries already there.
Okay.
So you don't have to
Or allow the application developer to define what aggregates he needs, so that he is aware of which metrics that you need to aggregate continuously. Right. So and then push those aggregates into cache. So it's like a pre-computed aggregates readily available in the cache. So you don't need to go and compute them.
Yeah. Generally, this is defined by most of the new application like Amazon or Splunk or Grafana. They have this predefined or Datadog. They have predefined information that based on their customers' usage, they already have baked that into the system.
I think the architecture gets complicated, right? Because cron
Yeah.
job may not do a right job in that case.
Exactly.
Because cron job, even though you're triggering maybe 10 minutes once or 1 hour once, there will be a gap of 1 hour.
Yeah, we can say,
right.
we
It
can
won't be
assume
near
that,
real time aggregate.
Yeah, for now we can assume that somehow you will get it, because that itself is another question.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then you need some kind of a streaming processing, right? So stream processing like Storm or Apache Spark streaming or something like that, which does it real time.
Yeah. Yeah, just make it as an Apache Spark. But I don't know, again, the cost will increase for this project. Setting up.
Yeah.
That will be a good experiment to see cost of everything at the end.
Yeah. Okay, so there is an API, get API, which will read, you know, customer error, like error count. You pass a argument.
And I was thinking these, for example, you put application ID and customer ID, right? Those have to be dynamically configurable. I was assuming that this is not a very specific for an application. My application may not have application ID or customer ID at all.
No, but right, that is something.
Are we talking about very specific application?
No, we are going to create it. When we ingest the logs, we need to have those things.
Like we have.
No, but I was assuming that the system is a very generic system, right? It's not.
Yeah,
like
this is generic, but we have 30 applications which are trying to call us. So based on that, we can have customized reports or to store it. So that's why we have application ID there.
I think Praveen said, right, there is an enterprise level. This is going to be an enterprise level, and then in single enterprise we have multiple orgs. So that's why we need a filter for application as well.
And also,
but why do you think that there is always a customer ID in our system?
So we will create it, Prashant. We will create it when we'll ingest the logs from that customer and that application.
Okay,
There
so
will be some application name, right?
Okay, got it. So are you saying that any customer who is using this log system will have a customer ID? That's what you're saying.
If they are not sending us in their logs, then we will have to create it when we are storing it in Elasticsearch. Yeah.
Generally, it is also to build the customers, right? Even internally, if you are wherever company you are, within departments, like if you are in Microsoft, right? Microsoft will also charge internal customers their internal PO based on the application ID.
Got it.
Yeah, so that will be a job of the service read and push into Elastic, which is creating the customer ID.
Yeah. Nothing is free. So even internal, everything has to be charged. So based on application ID, they will charge that application.
Okay, so UI, we have two API. One is post and one is get. What else?
I think that should be good. Let's go into detail. This is very good.
Okay, so details of what? Can you like?
UI, did you put Grafana and any of this?
So I have one related question on the modeling, data modeling, right? So we exposed the standard columns as part of the filter. Are we also thinking of exposing user-defined indexes? Like, for example, if my application has maybe location as a column, which is being exposed as part of my log. So are we also thinking of indexing on that as well? How do we define what columns have to be indexed in the Elastic?
We didn't go to that in depth, user-defined column. So we just have a one user-defined column, like major.
Yeah, and also the
column.
we didn't discuss about the data modeling, right? So how do we store this data? Are we assuming that Elastic is like a black box? Just
we
data there?
discussed about what all we are going to index, the customer application ID, log type. But because we did not go into the custom, we don't have that right now.
So in the log description, there will be like which environment and which container example and which system.
So we are, okay, got it. So we are limiting this search to standard column indexing, like application ID and customer ID.
Yes.
Not beyond that, right? Okay.
And
yeah, typically when I have access logs, right? Typically when I have access logs and I integrate with systems like Splunk and all, I that gives you an option to go and define your own columns for indexing, so that from the UI you can query on those columns and get the data. So yeah, it's my own experience with Splunk. That's how it works. So I'm just bringing that.
But in this, right, under log description, we should also have raw log, right?
Yeah.
What was that?
A raw log. Yeah. Every time there's always a raw log.
I don't know that.
Raw, RAW,
okay.
Yeah, this is like unfiltered, basically whatever the application is pasting. So then in future, if you want to custom search anything based on like location or anything else, right? We can pre-compute, like we may add new columns inside the raw log and you can do custom search with that free search based on raw log.
So yeah, basically you will ask Elastic to index on that column in future if you want.
Raw log and created date. If you give those two parameters, then it will do some time series simplification on that.
Okay.
So isn't that the job of this log aggregator on the left-hand side where the raw log exists, from where we are pulling it to Elasticsearch? So the raw log already have some kind of existence there in this on the left-hand side. And from there, we are creating this Elastic node with whatever we need.
I think that aggregator will just ingest the data. So his responsibility is to just get the data from individual nodes and ingest that into Elastic, and so that Elastic can store and index it.
So Elastic will also store raw data, or it will fetch from the S3?
It will have to store raw data also, and it has to create index, and also it has to store raw data. So because it has to reference that data as part of your search.
Yeah, it does both actually. So Elastic will basically normalize it to some extent so that it's easily readable. At the same time, it will still keep some raw information for it to be further processed downstream.
So we are saying we will have same data in, let's say, in S3 as well as in Elasticsearch.
some raw logs at least, because every time you see Splunk, right, in Splunk query, we are all discussing Splunk because everyone uses it, but always any response that you get, you can always click on it and say, see the log. Either we can have a link back to S3 or wherever you have the raw log, or we can actually have stored that also in the Elastic. Sometimes some of the data when your key value pair might be truncated or something happens. So you want to see the raw logs for debugging.
Okay.
Yeah, anything else we need to discuss? Like,
I think data aggregation probably, I'm not sure if you are thinking of data aggregators directly talking to Elastic, or you may need some kind of
Through a service.
buffering.
There is a service that is going to do that.
Not that piece, the left hand side. Can you scroll left side?
here.
Yeah. So how the agents are communicating to Elastic?
There is a service, inside that box,
Okay. Okay.
So one question to Praveen. Normally the estimations, when you ask in review only the log, they will ask how many API, for building an API, how many EC2 you need, or container cost, everything.
Yeah, generally you can say they'll just say storage, right? They will not say how you are using the storage. So you should build in such a way that you can give overall estimates, not just this is just my part and this is the storage. If you are building everything, you should try to estimate the storage for everything. If you're trying to store any data, then generally you can be specific that I'm only mentioning estimate about the storage into the MySQL or this database, so that you don't have to worry about others.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because once you start saying a holistic, which is another exercise, will take a whole 1-2 hours to estimate that. That's going to be very complex. So this, so you can just say whatever is information need that I need to store in Elastic as part of nodes and high availability is this.
Okay.
Be specific, because otherwise, if you don't say specific, this is the all the hardware requirements, then he will corner you, or anyone can corner you.
Yeah.
Then they'll say, where will you store the API? How is the API will be running? Where will you show the Elastic mem search or Redis? How much? Then you have to again, oh, I forgot. Let me add that. So then you'll get into that. So just be specific on what assumptions you have. So you can just say this estimation storage instead of that. Just say this is Elastic storage.
Yeah. Okay.
And for quick reference, right, people who want to understand this, they can look at ELK stack. ELK stack is basically what we are discussing. That will actually help us understand how this is built in an open source way. We all can build an ELK stack in a weekend, actually, in our own laptop.
Yeah.
So this whole thing, we can do it in a ELK stack.
Right. ELK provide an API, built API as well, right? I mean,
yeah, they will provide all the APIs.
Okay, I think we covered most of the items. If there's no question, I will stop sharing my screen. I don't know what next. Praveen.
Yeah, I think the host is Asim. Asim.
Hey, sorry, I was away. Is a question for me?
No, are we
Question.
done, or we continue again, or what is the next step?
Yeah, I think if the discussion is done, I think we can be done for today. And thank you, Ragesh, for hosting this and making it helpful for everyone. I think you might also got some idea, like in a real interview, how things can go different. So
This is my first time. I'm kind of whiteboarding I'm doing, so it is good
Oh,
experience.
you're doing great then.
yes. So yeah, I think you did good job, and thank you for volunteering, and yeah, everyone who contributed to the discussion. So make helpful for everyone. So if we don't have anything, we can disperse. I can keep
One thing I will say before you discuss, can you open and search for Google ELK stack high level diagram so that in the recording you can have that also?
I think recording is still going on. Okay.
So that search anywhere ELK stack, and you can share your screen and pick any one diagram that has end to end, so everything will be there.
Yeah, sure.
I think just go to the site itself and you can see that. And go up. You're searching the image search.
Sorry. Okay.
Go to the ELK. Yeah.
Yeah.
The first, the second one here.
I don't know. They will put.
Go back to the search and see the images, and click on maybe first image or second image.
Yeah.
And open that, maximize it. So this will actually help us understand, whatever we are building is, we can build like this. Say log is there, and we have Logstash, which will actually do the data processing. And then we have a storage, which is in Elasticsearch. And to visualize it is Kibana. All these three services are free.
Correct.
You can download it and actually start using it immediately. You don't need to do anything.
So here we have built our own Logstash, and we have built our own UI in case we are not using Kibana or Grafana. And Elastic is only we have used. So the interviewer is expecting replacing Elasticsearch with our own component, like building from scratch.
He may ask you in the ELK stack, how will you build a visualize Kibana? How will you build Elastic? How will you build Logstash? Each one can be a question, but you can go in details of how they are building it. In data processing is what we were talking for some time, like how it needs to be processed, the log, how to get the time series data and storing it. And storage part, like how we want to storage, everything is there, right? So most of the thing is individual components. So our analysis here was 1, 2, and 3, right? We have a log, then we have to read from the log and process the data and then store it.
Correct.
So that's why this visualization will, and now go back to the search again. There is one more diagram, which is the third one, yeah. And there are a few other diagrams more.
In depth, yeah.
Yeah.
And we did one session in ST skills on Elasticsearch. So I also put a recording link. If anybody interested can go over that.
See, Logstash parse, Logstash will parse and transform, data visualize, ship. So someone mentioned, right, heartbeat or something.
Correct. So these transform, right? I mean,
that's a API.
Yeah, what they're doing, what kind of transformation?
Based on your requirements, you can filter and add conditions. to the data that's there in the Logstash.
So Logstash will have some kind of a configurations. You can, based on the config, it will parse what kind of field you want, what kind of, right? Okay.
Yes. Even in Elastic, you can do that. So some of the customizations.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it. We can stop the recording.